Welcome to Bruising Boxing. Hey, guess what? I'm back. Season 3, year 3, rocking and rolling. Number 3, numero 3. Hey, I beat COVID. We did it. We did it again. But second time, I'm undefeated. Bitches undefeated. With me is we have a big show here today. We just have a little bit of news, and then we have our pound for pound list for the active pound for pound list. Jimmy James is going to take over the host seat for that one. So we got that coming up. It's going to be all sorts of fun. Let's start by introducing our crew here. We'll start with the one, the only, Filthy Rich. Filthy Rich, how you doing today?
You know, there's this new Corona variant out in France right now. I don't know the details, but I like the more familiar Corona. So in honor of more familiar Corona, tonight I'm going to be drinking Corona Familiar, brought to you by Corona. So I'm ready to toast when you are. I am not making it up.
That is literally the name of the beer, folks. If you didn't know that, Corona Familiar.
Right on. All right. And you heard him there shortly. That is the one, the only, the judge, Jimmy James. Court is in session. What's up, Judge? You okay?
That was just, I wasn't expecting that. That was a good old curveball.
You're never expecting it.
Starting season 3 on a curveball, right? You know I can't hit the curveball, Rich. But I'm excited for the active pound for pound. I'm excited for it. So let's get rocking. Let's kick it.
Well, as I said here, I want to bring this out here. I did beat Corona. That's worth the Wu-Tang here for sure. And in celebration, because this is the second time I beat it, and you guys saw how bad I looked last week, I'm going to do something that I haven't done in about 15 years here. So I haven't had a beer since I got sick almost 2 weeks ago. So I went to the store and I got myself the greatest Mexican beer from our pound for pound list, obviously this Tecate. But the thing I'm going to do that I haven't done since college is I'm going to shotgun this Tecate right in front of you guys, right live, right now. All right, so you got to remember how I do this here. This could turn out really bad. I do have a lot of towels laid around here just in case.
All right, well, cheers, folks. Let's
so on that point, we got that in there. All right, so gentlemen, cheers to you.
Very familiar.
Chug.
Brilliant.
I did.
Oh my goodness.
It's empty.
It's empty. We did it. Hey, Corona, eat it. Now I smell like Mexican failure and tainted meat. But hey, it is what it is. Cheers here, boys. Cheers. Pound for pound list. New Year season 3 started off right. All right, let's get on with the show. Man, it smells like tainted meat in here. Tell you.
Smells familiar here.
Yeah. Well, since we got that, we also have to pop the little champagne here, the champagne high life, because obviously after shotgunning that Tecate, I'm obviously high on life. All right, Bruising News get to here, and I'm going to need a beer for this first one because last week we did our Bruising Boxing Awards, and this person did not get any of the Bruising Boxing Awards because he shouldn't get any of the Bruising Boxing Awards. But apparently ESPN and Sports Illustrated both think that Jake Paul deserves awards of the year. Sports Illustrated now nominated him, or made him, I'm not nominated, awarded him Breakout Boxer of the Year, and ESPN gave him Knockout of the Year. Gentlemen, first off, how disgusting is this? Second, how can you make a Boxer of the Year if he hasn't fought a boxer yet? And how bad is this for boxing, or is it good for boxing? I'll leave it to Filthy Rich to start because I feel like he's going to defend the Paul boys.
Look, let's start with. Let's go with award. You asked 3 questions here. I'll start with. I believe the first one is Knockout of the Year. It was a pretty good knockout, so it should have been considered Knockout of the Year. Now I don't know if any of these matches are sanctioned matches, because it sounded like there was something where And one of the Pauls, I can't remember if it was Logan or Jake, was not allowed to knock the opponent out. I don't know if that's
Triller rules, man.
I don't know if any of this stuff is true just because I don't read into it. I don't take this very seriously. So as far as knockout of the year goes, I can see that. I get it. I understand it. I like James's better. I like mine better, but I understand. And don't forget, the ESPN Ringside, this was a fan poll voting. So it wasn't like the experts on ESPN were the ones who came to this conclusion. It was these idiot fans. I shouldn't call our fans idiots, but there's some idiots out there who just want to vote to mess up everything. As far as, I think it was Breakout Boxer of the Year. Look, I guess, I don't know. He's drawing numbers. He's a main eventer. No one thought this would happen. I'm not trying to defend the guy. If we had Breakout Boxer of the Year, I wouldn't even consider him as someone I would like even put in the top 10 as a breakout boxer of the year. Is this good or bad for boxing? The third question. Look, anything that can draw eyes on the sport is always a good thing. If this dude brings in good money, there's a good chance that he can pay undercard fighters very well. And if you can build a very good undercard and get other guys to become main eventers in the future, that's always a good thing. You saw the thing he did with Dana White, where he demanded Dana White starts paying his UFC fighters. You say what you want about the guy. I'm starting to like him, man. I'll drink to me, but don't you dare talk about Jake Paul and Logan Paul.
Yeah, I am going to talk about him because he's disgusting, and it's not boxing. He's not fighting any boxers, and they have weird rules. I don't like it. James, back me up on why this is disgusting.
Well,
you're with me, James.
To give him Breakout Boxer of the Year, I don't personally understand it. Right? I think there are other people who are more deserving of an award like that. Now, is it like the knockout? Yeah, it was a flashy knockout, right? I get that as well. And Rich made a good point. It was an ESPN fan poll. I wouldn't have. There was only the two or three other options on there. None of the ones that we said, besides Fury Wilder, were on that list. So take that for what it's worth, right? Either way, he's still not boxing boxers. But if you want to play devil's advocate, most boxers at the beginning of their career don't box a lot of people who are actually fit to be in the ring, right? You can make that argument. One positive that he does have, which is probably the only thing that I really can say that's good about it, he's got 15 to 20 million subscribers and views on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
We almost got that much.
And so close, guys. Just a couple extra clicks. Like it, subscribe. Come on. That part, bringing in definitely younger generation, new life into it, into the sport. That's probably the thing that I can, the thing that's, I don't want to say a shining star, but that's like the icing on kind of a crappy cake. But that's good for boxing. You can't deny it, right? It's like if you hate a boxer, but he's still good, you can't deny their skills, even though if you don't like the individual. But he brings in a different view. Hopefully that's good. I really hope that it doesn't start to become a, what do you call it? Like a circus, like a smoke show, or we're just having celebrity boxing and things like that. But he can't promote himself as being a boxer. Rich made a good point about, Amanda Serrano got paid more money in 2 fights with Jake Paul than she has in her entire career with Dana White in UFC. And she was one of the ringers or the stars of the women's UFC forever. The Lioness, I think, is what her nickname is, or something like that. Like, I don't know, man. I personally don't care for it. If he ever gets into the ring with an actual fighter, then maybe my views will change. But I just it's just not something I was expecting out of the end of 2022.
He does so much dumb stuff like calling out Canelo and saying he beat Canelo and all these guys. It's ridiculous. Here's the way I see it, boys, and correct me if you don't think it's right, but I think Jake Paul is going to go the way of Triller. Once he gets exposed like Triller kind of did, he's going to be yesterday's news, and it's going to be out the door. And that's the problem, is if you have too many fans like that just walk away from it after he gets exposed, maybe whether it's against a whatever UFC fighter that catches him well, or he actually fights an actual boxer. I hear he's fighting Caesar Salad might be one of the things coming up here. You see that Caesar Salad. That might be the first time I have to cheer for Caesar Salad in a fight, but I think even Jake Paul beats Caesar Salad. But
look, so
does that count as a boxer, Caesar Salad?
Jake and Logan Paul are two different guys. One of them is signed with Showtime. I don't know which one's which. I show me a picture. I know which one's which. I don't know which one is signed with Showtime. I don't know what the other one's doing. And when we talk about he's talking about Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He's calling him Caesar Salad for those who don't know. So I don't know who Chavez Jr. is fighting out of the two Paul guys, but Chavez Jr. is a legit fighter, whether we like him or not, whether he's fell off a cliff or whatever, but he was a former champion at one point. So I don't know which, even talking about this whole Paul thing, I don't know if we're talking about Logan or Jake. It's probably Jake.
It's Jake.
So we're talking about Jake. If he's fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., it's a legit fighter. He beats him. Then we can start talking about breakout star. But I think it's too early to call him a breakout star.
All right. I think we talked enough about Jake Paul.
No, we haven't. Let's keep going.
No, we got the clicks already for that for the Jake Paul stuff. We talked about him there. For those that you're just joining us because we talked Jake Paul for the first time, please watch our show. Click subscribe. You're gonna like our show. You're gonna like it. Learn more about boxing if you like boxing. Here's what you got. All right. Second bit of news here is the ESPN had an article about the wishes for the new year, and they had a wishes for all these different fights coming in. I'm going to name the fights that they have as their wish list coming in for this year, and I'm going to ask you guys which one of these fights basically is the one that you want the most. They listed Tyson Fury versus Usyk, Canelo versus Golovkin 3, Spence versus Crawford, Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, Cambosis versus Haney, Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis, or David Benavidez versus Jamal Charlo. Which one of those things sparks your interest, guys, and which ones does not spark your interest and go, yeah, that's just stupid. It's just never going to happen. Judge, we'll start with you this time.
All right. Well, out of those knee-jerk reaction, I'm gonna say this as a caveat: fights I want to see that have a chance, and no, I guess you can get a start the bias. But Crawford Spence, I want to see Crawford Spence. If this doesn't happen this year, then I don't know what these two are doing. Someone's got to go away. At that point, it's just Crawford 4, Spence, you're healed, you beat. Let's go. Make some money, do the thing. You have a hand, it's a right arm.
I just wanted to point out that Alvarez, Golovkin 3, Spence Crawford, and Joshua Wilder are all three fights that have been talked about for 3-4 years now. It's just ridiculous that these are the same fights every year. It's just never going to happen. Why do we keep talking about it? So go ahead. I'm just pointing that out.
Because if any of them would have a chance at happening, I believe it's Spence Crawford. But that's the one I want to see because people still hate on Crawford, and back to back will definitely show something different. Do you want me to roll up later? You want me to roll up into the one I don't?
Do it.
All right, one I don't want to see for this because it just doesn't really interest me anymore. I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, I lie. I don't know. Yeah, let me think about it. All right,
I'll let him think about it. Filthy Rich, before I bring it to you, I'm just going to tell you which ones that I want to see and which ones whatever. I think obviously I think Filthy Rich is going to talk about that he doesn't want to see Alvarez Golovkin 3. I do want to see Golovkin get his revenge, but I am definitely worried about it. I don't want to see Joshua versus Wilder anymore. I have no interest in seeing that fight. I wanted to see that fight 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I have zero interest in seeing that fight anymore. Tank Davis versus Garcia, that one might be fun because Ryan Garcia is like the sexiest man outside of Amir Khan. But he won't be after that fight. I think Tank messes him up to the point where he looks like he got in a car wreck and he's going to need reconstructive surgery on that one. Otherwise, Fury Usyk, that one is very, very appealing to me. That one is that's because I didn't think that would be, but Usyk is skyrocketed up my charts, as you guys might find out later. And I'm curious to see how that fight goes down. Filthy Rich, which ones on these ones stick out to you?
Look, how do I put this? But as far as Spence Crawford goes, that expires this year. If we don't get it this year, I don't care anymore. I didn't think these guys were going to fight until 154 anyways. So at 147, it expires this year if it hasn't already. After Spence's eye injury, I don't think we're going to get the Spence we once had. We haven't even seen him in the ring since. Canelo Triple G probably has some money because it's Canelo and it's still Triple G. They're just not the same weight class anymore. And I'd say the same thing about Benavidez and Charlo. I know I'm supposed to pick one. I'm just going through all of them. Cambosis still isn't proven yet. He beat one guy on a good night. Great. And fighting Haney is just not, to me, Haney's not the top of the division. So throw that one away. Ryan Garcia Davis, I like your thoughts on it. I just like, this reminds me of someone like De La Hoya versus Pernell Whitaker or something, where you got the pretty boy versus a pretty tough fighter. So I'd like to see Davis Garcia to an extent, but my favorite, I think, should be the overwhelming favorite is Usyk and Fury, because this one is just now being talked about. And if we've learned a lesson over the past couple of years, don't let this stuff expire. Because if we talk about this next year and it still hasn't happened, we're going to get tired of talking about it. Someone's going to lose, and they're going to end up like Joshua Wilder when no one's going to care anymore. So my favorite on this list, and you know what? I'll be honest, I could probably come up with a better list of the fights I want to see this year. I think Lomachenko's name's not even mentioned, and I'd rather see him fight than most of the guys on this list. But Fury Usyk is my favorite. My least favorite is probably Benavidez, Charlo, because they're just not in the same weight class, and I'd like to see both those guys fight other opponents first.
How is Chocolatito Estrada not on there? I mean, I know they just got signed, but still, how is that one not on there as a wish list? I know, James, that would be on your wish list to see, and that wish is coming true. But after those wars that they've had, the first two fights, how do you not want that one to be on your list too? I mean, you're going to choose Canelo Golovkin 3, but you're not going to choose Estrada Chocolatito 3? That makes no sense.
Well, because it's going to happen. That's why it's not on the list.
I don't know if this article came out before that was announced, though. I mean, that just was recently announced. Like, I think today that they signed. So I don't know.
There's a wish list.
It is a wish list. My wish list is that's going to be a fun birthday present for me to watch this Estrada versus Chocolatito. Hopefully Chocolatito doesn't get screwed this time. But I agree. I hope Fury Usyk happens this year, or else they will become Joshua Wilder. They'll become that unicorn that gets chased that we can never catch. You never catch that unicorn. So, all right, that's it for news this week. We got our big pound for pound list coming up here, our filthy 10, because it's our pound for pound, current best pound per pound. So only 2 bits of news this week. Let's get right into that. If you boys are ready, let's get on with the show.
All right, Bruising Boxing fans, it is time for our active pound for pound list to begin 2022. I am going to host this one. Raider is going to move on to be one of the expert judges. The
gloves are off, Rich.
That's right. If you are unfamiliar with how we do our lists, each member of this team submits a list to an individual. We then go through it and rank it by points. So the number 1 would get 10 points, number 2, 9, number 3, 8, and so on. At the end, after all the points have been tallied, they then get added up and then get put into our total consensus list. And that it will be a 1 through 10 list for this one, since it is the active pound for pound. And from there, those are going to be the ones that we probably go back and hindsight's 2020 for the rest of 2022. So, gentlemen, without further ado, do we want to get this started?
Bring it on. Don't you dare.
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to start at number 10, get to number 1, do some honorable mentions at some point. But to kick off this list, at number 10, our general consensus pick is Josh Taylor with 4 points. Rich, let's see. You had Josh Taylor unranked. James had him at 14. And Raider was the only person who had him in the top 10 at number 7. So, Raider, go ahead and tell us why Josh Taylor is number 7 on your active pound-for-pound list.
Well, I need to know why you guys didn't have him up that high. That just doesn't make any sense.
That's not how that works. This is your question right now.
Remember who's the host.
Hey, first off, I'm done with you.
Hey, I gave you some time here, man. What's happening? If you don't start talking, I'm going to pass it to Rich.
No, I'm going to take it over right now.
All right.
Okay. He's 18-0. I had to pull up my notes here. I pull up a little bit. 18-0. I don't know why you guys don't like him. I mean, he fought well in 2021. He fought Jose Ramirez and won by unanimous decision. He's still a great fighter. He beat Prograis. He's beaten Kong Song. He's got Jack Catterall coming up. I mean, I know that's not a big fight, but still. He's undefeated at the super light division. How is he not even in your guys' top 10? Rich, you don't even have him ranked. That doesn't even make sense to me. He's got a high KO percentage of 72%. I know he's still young, but still, he's number 1 ranked and number 1 British fighter in the world, number 1 super lightweight in the world. What do you guys want? What do you guys need? Rich, what do you need?
Are you throwing it to me or is James throwing it?
Well, it was just a general question. Go ahead and I'm throwing it back to James.
That can't be a general question. That's a pass off, man. Rich, I want to know, why don't you have him on the list at all? Not even in the top 15 for the active pound for pound.
Because I got 15 guys better than him. Like, I get it. Like, look. Let me slow down a bit. Maybe take a drink. Here's the deal. He was on the cusp. Like, he was one of the guys it hurt to not put on the list. But playing fortune teller here, this dude probably won't even be fighting this year. So I'm not going to Aaron Rodgers him, but there's a chance he is not going to be fighting at all coming this year. So I'm going to penalize him right now for what he does on what I'm not going to go there. Look, he's a good fighter. That's about it. Needs to maybe step up a weight class. I don't know. Cleaning out 140 doesn't do much for me. You didn't beat Tank Davis. You beat Prograis on a close decision. You beat Ramirez on a decision, a close one.
But he wins.
I don't care who. I have guys who lost to people I have ranked higher. I don't care if you win or lose. It's what my eyeballs tell me. Here's what I look at. If everyone met at the same weight, who would win? And I have it 1 through 15. He's probably 16, 17, 18.
He beat Victor Postal very handedly. You didn't agree with that? Victor Postal, we all like.
No.
Come on.
Well, you had him ranked, James, so don't dismiss me there.
All right, we've heard enough of you.
Thanks,
and Josh Taylor. All right, look, he's 14. He's a unified champion at 140. Good for you. He did a very good showing against Ramirez, and he did exactly what he needed to do. If you want to go back and watch an old show, I'm pretty sure we called it exactly what he was going to do. And if he executed, it was going to happen. He's still 14. He doesn't have any other fights. He's got a couple of big. Fight somebody else. Let's see what happens in 140 if you're active. I'm kind of curious to see what the hell Rich is talking about, that he ain't going to fight in 2022.
Yeah.
So I've got some homework after this, but either way, Josh Taylor, we're beating a dead horse. Number 10 at 4 points because of Raider Live at 7. So let's move on. At number 9 on our general consensus pound for pound list for active fighters is George Cambosis Jr. with 6 points. Rich had him unranked. James had him unranked. And Raider had him at number 5, which gave him 6 points. So, Raider, why do you have George Cambosis Jr. at number 5, which put him at number 9 on our list?
Well, first off, I think your point system is messed up because he should have, if he was at my number 5, 15, 14, 13, 12, he should have got 11 points.
Again, the point total is 10 through 1 for the top 10 fighters on your list. We went through this before and at the beginning.
I misunderstood that.
Number
but
6.
Anyway, Cambosis just beat Teofimo Lopez Jr., obviously, and he beat him handedly. Okay. And I think you guys all, when you watch that fight, you saw something. You saw the birth of a champion, is what you saw in that fight. That guy has heart. That guy jumped up. He beat the hell out of a guy. I'm sorry, that beat Lomachenko. Lomachenko was hurt. I understand that. Lomachenko didn't do, but Cambosis did exactly what he said he was going to do, what nobody gave him any chance of doing. He went in there and he dominated Teofimo Lopez start to finish. Unless you ask Teofimo Lopez, because apparently Teofimo says he won 11 of 13 rounds, apparently. That's how bad he got beat. He didn't even know how many rounds he fought. Cambosis is a beast. I think he beats Haney. I think he beats most of these guys in this division. I think everybody's going to underestimate him just because he's not a big name. He's going to be the biggest name coming out in 2022. That's my name, right? That's what I'm going to tell you guys right now. You're both wrong. He's going to be the biggest name in 2022. That's my prediction right now.
All right, Rich. So why do you not have him on your list?
Just need more. I need to see more. I didn't have Teofimo Lopez ranked in the top 15 last time we did this list. So beating a guy who wasn't even ranked in the top 15 doesn't really mean much to me. And we're not going to play transitive property champion here just because you beat one guy, he beat the next. Because I know you're not going to tell me that Cambosis beats Lomachenko. So we won't even go.
You don't know?
You won't say that. And here's the other thing. I also don't have anyone else in this division ranked. But, well, I do have one guy ranked in that division. I'm sure we'll cross that bridge here in a moment. But I think Cambosis is the best of the rest. So he is one of them guys. Yeah, I think you're right. A champion was born. I just don't think he was top 15. We have 17 divisions, and I'm not putting him. He's right on the cusp of 20, as Lopez was 6 months ago, and as Josh Taylor is currently. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I don't have him that high. I don't have him ranked. So
yeah, you do not, and neither did I. And pretty much you guys touch on a little bit. He beat one guy. He executed a game plan extremely well. Was Lopez on his point? Didn't seem like it. He came out like a bull in a china shop and then stopped real quick, right? And if you want to say the same thing of the reason why Loma lost to Lopez was something similar, injured going into the fight, didn't have enough gusto to just remove himself from the fight. I'm going to blame this. I'm going to blame it on his corner and his father. I don't think he was in the right frame of mind after beating Loma to step into this fight. Either way, I don't see Cambosis as being, after just one big name fight, that high on a pound for pound list because of beating like the likes of some of the other guys. Maybe we'll have to come back in retrospect, but either way, that's my take on it. So, I mean, that's pretty much it, right? You got one final thought. You got 10 seconds.
My final thought is he beat one guy, but he beat a very highly ranked guy that everybody, maybe not
everybody.
Here.
Thank you.
I said maybe not here, but nationally, Teofimo Lopez was a giant name, and that was a giant upset when it came to the so-called experts not on this show. Cambosis is for real, man. We watched it. He passed my eye test. I think he's huge for 2022. Let's just record that. We'll talk about it next time.
And we're done. All right, we're moving on. All right, so at number 8 for our active pound for pound list, we have Shakur Stevenson with 9 points. Let's see here. Rich, you had him at number 8. I also had him at number 8. And Raider, you had him at number 8. So we actually might as well have a social there, right, boys? So cheers on that. And so let's see. I don't really know who to start with, but I'm actually going to start with Rich this time, since I've gone with Raider twice. So Rich, why do you have Shakur Stevenson as number 8 on your active pound for pound?
Look, I've probably given him a hard time. He's still a young dude. He's still a young dude, but last year I probably had him ranked 11-ish, just outside the top 10, maybe 14, somewhere right outside. Because I know belts don't mean anything, but the dude is looking for a fight, and I wasn't very high on Jamel Herring, but he just whooped up Herring, and that means something. Like, I don't want to get back into the Cambosis thing, but that was a pretty close fight at the end of the day. With Shakur Stevenson, he is destroying people, and his defense is off the charts. I wanted to have him ranked higher. Don't you dare do that to me on television. This is a TV show. I wanted to have him ranked higher. He's right there in the second tier of the greats. And it's going to take a little bit of time, but he's climbing up the charts. He's not going down.
All right, Raider. I'm going to pass it to you. I'll go last. Why do you got Shakur Stevenson at number 8 on your active pound for pound?
Probably the same reason you guys all have him at 8. Last year, I had him at 14. He's moved up exactly that many spots, in my opinion. He's moved up that he hasn't had the big fights except for Herring, mainly because people are dodging him. But he passes the eye test, as Matt from Lindstrom told me when this guy first came out. He says, you need to keep an eye on Shakur Stevenson. He is the future. I agree with him, except I still think Boots Ennis is going to have a better career in the long run, because that Boots is my guy. But Shakur Stevenson, he is the future of boxing right now. He is very exciting. He is a mini Mayweather. He can do the defense, but also have fun with the offense. He doesn't have a lot of the knockout power, though, that may hurt him on some big purses. But, it is what it is. He's fun to watch. I enjoy watching him. So 8 seems right.
Well, he's definitely been the most touted, or one of the most touted prospects in the past 3 years. Definitely going back to 2019. I think the biggest, it was when he beat Joet Gonzalez. His big question was, do you have offense? I think he does. I think he proved that against Herring. I think he's actually starting to step up. I think he was very upset at Timothy Bradley when they told him that he doesn't like to get hit. And he even agreed, but he said, you know what, I'm going to step up and do that. So this guy listens to these announcers ringside. If he continues to show what he did against Herring, he's going to continue to grow on this list. So I think 8 is a good spot. I definitely agree with you guys there, but I think he is going to slowly creep up with this. And I think those KOs are actually going to come up a lot quicker than you think. I think he's going to have a lot more TKOs than just straight knockouts. I think they're going to be like vicious shots where they just stop it. So, but yeah, that's where we got Shakur Stevenson at number 8. So here is a little interesting twist on this one. So our number 7 was actually tied with Shakur in terms of points. However, he is ranked higher on one list. Well, technically 2 lists. So he is ahead of him on the overall list. That was my tiebreaker. I made the rules. I don't care what you guys say. Anyway, but with further ado, at number 7 on our active pound for pound list for a general consensus is Errol Spence Jr. with 9 points. Now, Rich, you had Errol Spence at number 5. I had Errol Spence at Rich. You had Errol Spence at number 6. I had Errol Spence at number 7. Raider had Errol Spence outside the top 10 at number 12. So, Rich, why is Errol Spence still relevant at number 6 on your active pound for
pound? He can't be beat. Like, I don't know who's gonna beat this guy. He's still we think of what Shakur is today is what Errol Spence was, the bluest of the blue chips. He's probably going to be moving up in weight. I'm not talking his inactivity, but when I talk about guys right outside that top 5, Errol Spence is the first name that comes to mind. It hurts putting him outside the top 5, but other fighters are making moves, and his accident has cost him ring time. I need to see. I don't want to make the mistake of penalizing him too much. I need to see him in the ring again, but it doesn't mean he won't be in the top 5 again. Right now, other guys are making moves, and that puts him out of the top 5 at number 6.
Yeah, that makes sense. His nickname is The Truth, and the truth hurts, right? You need to be more active, bud. So you get back in the ring. Why don't you make that Crawford fight? Not really going to have too much to add to this one. So, Raider, I'm just going to pass it to you. Why do you have him at number 12, 2 spots outside of the top 10?
Because you took my line. The truth hurts. Everyone knows I've always been a big Errol Spence guy. I've said it on this show. Any fan of the show knows I've been a big Errol Spence guy. I've always said he beat Crawford, this and that. He didn't fight last year. He didn't fight in all of 2021. I can't justify keeping him. I had him at 5 last year, and he didn't fight. You don't fight. I can't justify keeping you up. And that eye injury might be more serious than is leading on if he didn't fight. He fought Danny Garcia in December of 2020. That is 2 years ago for the most part, a year and a half, or about a year ago. I mean, that's too long. Hard. That's 13 months. And then before that, he didn't even fight for another year before that is when he fought Sean Porter. He's fought 2 times since September of 2019. I think I fell for it. Errol Spence was great, but I think the hype train is gone. I think it's gone. I think he's just not there anymore. After the car accident, yeah, he looked great, but you haven't fought since, so that tells me something's wrong. And you were going to have to bleep this one, but S or get off the pot, and it seems like he's gotten off the pot. He's not doing it. I just couldn't justify keeping him up high as much as I liked him when he doesn't fight. So I'm sorry, that's the truth, and the truth hurts.
All right. Well, I don't have to bleep that because you didn't say anything bad. So that's easy.
I know.
Enough.
I stopped it.
Yeah, I got it. I'm just commenting. It's what hosts do. So anyway, that's Errol Spence, number 7, tiebreaker over Shakur Stevenson. And I guess at that point, we'll just move right on to number 6. And at number 6, with our general consensus pick, is Tank Davis, Gervonta. Rich, you had him at number 7. Raider, you had him at number 9, and I had him at number 6. So I guess at this point, Rich, why do you have him up at number 7?
So this was, after the top 5, it was tough for me to separate Spence, Davis, and Stevenson. And again, with pound for pound, if every guy met at the same weight, who probably wins? I have Spence winning. I think he just has a better skill set. I think Davis comes next. So I had Davis ranked at 7 just because he's proven himself at the divisions he's been at. He's flexible when it comes to going from 130 to 135 to 140 back down to 135, but would probably still knock out guys like Josh Taylor at 140. So I have Davis ranked where he's at because I don't know. That's kind of all I got. I want to. He can move up. I'll put it that way. He can still move up because he's his fight with Isaac Cruz. Isaac Cruz a tough dog. And not knocking out Isaac Cruz isn't a knock against him. It shows what a tough opponent Isaac Cruz is. And I would like to see. I want to know who he fights next because whoever Tank Davis is fighting next, he's probably knocking him out to make up for lost time.
Well, me and you had him flip flop, right? Davis and Spence. We had him at 6 and 7 respectively. So I personally think that Davis is higher on my list just because you can move him. He has moved from 130, 135, 140, and he's going up and down in real life, right? Some of these matchups might be fictional, or what if these guys happen to be at the same weight and they fought? I think he's doing the real deal. I have him at 6 because of that fact. And so I agree. I think he is more of a threat than an Errol Spence. And obviously some of the other people that are below on my list. So I think that's a good spot for him. I think it's a good take. At least that's my take. But Raider, you still had him in your top 10, but you had him at 9, below Shakur Stevenson, below Josh Taylor. Why do you have Davis at number 9 on your list?
Well, let me tell you this. Gervonta Davis is very exciting to me. He's part of the 3-headed monster of young fighters that I am very, very excited about. Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Davis, and Boots Ennis. I think those guys are the future of boxing right now. It pained me to not have Boots on this thing, but Boots just hasn't had the fights yet. He hasn't had a chance to prove it. Tank has proven it. And this was the hardest one with me because it was 8 and 9, 8 and 9. I flipped them back and forth like 3, 4, 5 times. how I just they're basically tied to me. Davis and Shakur Stevenson basically tied for me. How I did the tiebreaker was age, and I think that Stevenson is a little better defensive fighter. He's got a little more of the total package than Tank does. Tank has, he's got the knockout power. It's great. It's fun to watch. I just think Shakur's just a little bit more talented, just barely. I mean, just he's basically 8 and 8A, 8A and 8B with me. But I am very excited about these young fighters coming up. I think Boots is the best one coming up, but these guys are fun to watch. These guys, not Jake Paul, these guys are the up-and-comers of boxing. These are the ones that you need to watch.
All right.
That makes sense?
No, it doesn't, but that's no problem. We'll go on.
Well,
That's
fine.
an opinion show. Not a big deal. All right. So,
well, that's my
folks,
opinion.
That's great. Now, stop talking. All right. So, just a real quick run through 6 through 10. We had number 10, Josh Taylor. Number 9, Cambosis Jr. Number 8, Shakur Stevenson. Number 7, Errol Spence. Number 6, Gervonta Davis. We are now going to go through the 5 and 4, and then we're going to run through some honorable mentions before getting to our 3, 2, and 1. So, with our number 5 active pound-for-pound fighter for 2022 is Alexander Usyk with 20 points. Rich, you had Usyk at number 5. I had Usyk at number 5. Raider Live, Usyk with number 3. So we're spinning it to you, bud. Why do you have Usyk at number 3 on your active pound-for-pound list?
Well, I'll tell you this. I was one of Usyk's biggest critics when he went up to heavyweight. It's just what it was. I was like, he's too small to be moving up there. It's not going to work. Well, he shoved that down my throat with that Anthony Joshua fight. That Anthony Joshua fight just it signifies pound for pound for me because I feel like he was too small to be a heavyweight, and yet he's beat what we all thought was the number 1 heavyweight, Anthony Joshua. Not only did he beat him, but I felt like he dominated him. I felt like he won that fight hands down, to the point where nobody could say, no, Joshua won that fight. No, everyone that watched that fight, or at least if you took a poll, 90% of people watching that fight go, Usyk won that fight. Usyk won that fight. He beat our number 1 heavyweight as a small heavyweight, which we all said Usyk should not be a heavyweight. We have said that on this show many times. Yet he did it. He did it. And he beat the number 1 heavyweight as a small guy. That's not a small feat, in my opinion. That is a giant feat to be able to do that. And I really want to watch him fight Tyson Fury. And I think his accomplishment's better than Tyson Fury's right now, to tell you the truth. I think he's the most exciting heavyweight there is out there right now. And I can't wait. I really hope that Fury fight happens.
Well, this is an active pound-for-pound list, so this isn't just a heavyweight list. So, Rich, why do you have Usyk at number 5? No, you didn't. You pretty much rattled off a bunch of heavyweight stuff, and that's why you have him at number 3. He was a small heavyweight,
and that signifies the pound.
And we'll mute him. This is Mute 2020, all right, boys? Rich, here we go. Why do you have Usyk at number 5?
So, look, yeah, I think the Joshua thing, he beat Joshua. I had Joshua ranked very high last year. I don't know where you guys had Joshua ranked. I had him ranked higher than Fury. I think I had Joshua in the top 10. Now, beating someone like Usyk beating Joshua, when we talk pound for pound, he is smaller and he is beating up much bigger guys. You put him in the ring with Fury, if they both weighed the same, Usyk's skill set is just unheard of. I don't see anybody beating this guy in that division for a while. I even tried to add a cruiserweight to this list, and you look at the cruiserweight list, they all have losses, and it's all to Usyk. This guy is not talked about enough. I think he's working on his English, but I hope the whole world knows about this guy. He is like a diamond in the rough, a treasure that needs to be discovered. And I hope this is his year. He might be fighter of the year. I know Canelo wins fighter of the year almost every year. I hope Usyk gets it this year. He was that close last year, but I don't know if that really answers the question, but Usyk's an exciting dude, and I can't wait to watch him again.
Well, I mean, he wiped out an entire division, became unified in cruiserweight, came up to heavyweight, and took the belts from somebody you just didn't think was going to happen. You just didn't think it was going to happen. And he did. And he executed the game plan well. Give a lot of credit to Lomachenko, Papachenko, because you guys had him as your trainer of the year. And that was huge. And I think that was one of the biggest things for it. And he executed a game plan well. And that's just a fault on Joshua. I don't think he can pivot well. I don't think he can change his style mid-fight. I think he can set up well, but he can't change once his fight is going on. I think that just is a flaw for Joshua. But either way, Usyk, I can understand why he's definitely in the top 5 overall for us, and the top 5 for everybody in this. And I guess, even though I don't want to, I will let you talk again, Raider. 10 seconds.
All right. Well, here's my 10 seconds. Is the skill set of him. You always hear about how great a mind cerebral fighter Tyson Fury is, how he can decide how a fight's going to go. I can be really big or really small. Usyk, I think, has the mind game better than anybody else in all of boxing right now. And I think he has the best strategy, and I think he's going to be unbeaten for a long time. I don't think anyone's going to beat him. I really don't. That's all I had.
Well, I think that's a lot better explanation than your previous one, man.
That's why I raised my hand.
I'll cheers to you on that one. All right. Way to come off mute and make a cheers. I like that. So
yeah, well, you guys drink. Look, he beats Joshua in a rematch. He beats Joshua.
Oh, Usyk definitely wins that rematch.
Yeah, that's fair. I can't argue against that, right? But all right. So
hey, James, what do you think about Tyson Fury in that fight?
Against fight?
Against Usyk.
Look, man,
it doesn't matter what you think.
All right. You keep that background on, and I'm going to mute you for the rest of the show, and you're going to be able to talk about your pound list, all right? That's your only warning. Yeah, I'm not a fun host. I'm a serious host because it's a serious show about boxing. All right. Anyway. All right.
There we go.
So real quick, number 4. Get out of here. Whatever. Anyway. So, yeah, all right. Getting a little off track, guys. Sorry about that. Obviously, the beers have been flowing. We're having a little time. Obviously, Corona Familiar, Tecate Shotgun, Lizard King. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. It's the first of the year, season 3, episode 1. So anyway, but again, digress. Number 4 overall pound for pound list for us. I'm gonna say this first before I say anything else. Raider, I hate you. At number 4 is Terence Crawford with 21 points. Rich, you had Terence Crawford at number 3. I had Terence Crawford at number 3. Raider Live has Terence Crawford at number 6. And just before anyone speaks, to remind you, he has George Cambosis Jr. ahead of Terence Crawford. So before, you're going to have to figure out a defense to this, Raider, because Rich, you're going to go first. Why do you have Terence Crawford at number 3?
After he retired Sean Porter. And when Sean Porter was asked, who's the guy that hits you the hardest? And he said, Terence Crawford. There was no reason for him to say that. He had to speak the truth, and no one's knocked out Sean Porter except for one guy. That was Terence Crawford. Errol Spence was the common opponent. Errol went 12 rounds, and it was a close fight. It was probably 6-6. They gave Errol the nod. I think if Terence Crawford locks up with Errol Spence, I think Crawford wins at this point. I think Crawford moves up to 154. I think he can dominate 154. I think he can go up to as far as 160 and still be productive. So I have Crawford where he is because there's not much of a future left, but nobody's beating this guy. I don't know. I think he retires undefeated, actually.
All right. Goes the Andre Ward route, huh? All right. Well, God, Raider, just go. Why do you have him? I want to know this. Answer this first. Why do you have him behind George Cambosis Jr.?
Well, I'm not going to start with that, actually. I'm going to start with, before you give me too much crap, you have to understand that I also put Errol Spence at 12. So I have gone 180 on this, and I've said for years that Errol Spence would win that fight. I am now on your side that Crawford's going to win that fight. I have him way in front of Spence right now. Did you not see that? Just pointing that out.
This is an active pound for pound list, which means that if you thought that Cambosis and Crawford fought, that George Cambosis Jr. would beat Terence Crawford in a fight.
Well, it's hard to get at the same weight class, but I understand where you're coming from.
That's what a pound for pound list is, bud. So I want to know the answer to that question. Why do you have George Cambosis ahead of Terence Crawford on your list? Well, I'm really struggling.
I'll tell you exactly why. Here's why. First off, it's not that far. It's 5 and 6. Okay, they're right next to each other. That's first off. Second off, I think that Cambosis beating Teofimo Lopez is better than any fight that Crawford has had in the last 3 fights. He had Sean Porter, which, yeah, Sean Porter was great. We all love Sean Porter, but yeah, he's lost to Errol Spence, and Sean Porter is on the tail end of his career. He beat Kell Brook, which I know I said many times Kell Brook's going to win that fight, but it was mainly just to get you hot. And then you fought Gonzalez or whatever it is in 2019. So he's fought one time in 2021 against Sean Porter. Yeah, that was still a close fight. He fought Kell Brook one time in 2020, and then he fought one time in 2019. I think Cambosis, if you put me on the spot about Cambosis, I think his victory as a big underdog against Teofimo Lopez said more about what his current standing is more than what Terence Crawford's current standing is of fighting once a year and fighting Sean Porter, Kell Brook. Does that make sense? Kind of the same thing with Errol Spence, where Errol Spence doesn't fight, you fall down the list. Cambosis fought the big fight. He won the big fight.
All right, we're not going to go through this anymore. But I'm going to say this before I speak about this real quick. Ray Perez, Richard Pena, Mickey Bay, Lee Selby. Oh, you don't know who any of those are? Yeah, those are the Cambosis fights before Teofimo Lopez. So we're going to stop with that. Either way, I don't know how you have him like that. That's crazy. We're going to have a crazy talk about that. But either way.
Let's have it now. It's better for ratings. Let's have it now.
No, we can't because we got to move on with the show. This is going forever. All right. Anyway, so Terence Crawford, number 3 on my list. He has to stay there for me. He finally fought a good opponent. He fought Sean Porter. I don't agree with how he won because Kenny Porter threw it in the thing. But either way, he still dominated that fight. I can't. There wasn't anything until once the 10th round hit and he said that he was losing on the cards and he just turned it on and turned it up and then the fight was over. He's toying with people, man. At this point, he's toying with people. And to toy with someone like Sean Porter for me is just, that's crazy. It's unfathomable. I think he's so much better than people give credit for. This is why he has to fight Spence in 2022. He has to get that big name fight and move up. I don't know what you, Rich, talking about. He's moving up. Ooh, that would be a crazy talk. And I ain't got time for that either. But either way.
Can I ask you this? Did you think Sean Porter was close or ahead on the cards when he got knocked out?
I don't think he was ahead on the cards. I think it was close, but it doesn't matter.
I think it was close?
Yeah, I think it was close.
He could have won that fight if he didn't go down in the 10th and give up?
Everyone, a chip in a chair.
It was a bad stoppage. We all agree it was a bad stoppage.
Everyone's got a chance, but it just doesn't matter. All somebody said in this corner was, you got to turn it up. I'm losing. Someone said you're losing. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm losing. And then done the next round. So either way, don't want to beat a dead horse. Do with that. Terence Crawford, number 4 on our overall general consensus. Maybe we'll have a different show to figure out what's going on inside of Raider Live's mind. But at that point, we're going to take a little bit of a break and we are going to go through all of the honorable mentions. So this is going to be the people that were on lists that didn't make the top 10 real quick. And then I'm going to have each one of you, myself, Raider Live, Filthy Rich. We're then going to pick one of these names to talk about to poke up like why it is, because it's going to take way too long for us to go through the whole thing, right? So people that were not on the list. How about this? I'll go with 11 through 15 real quick, and then the honorable mentions, right? So 11 through 15 were people who actually had points. Artur Beterbiev, Roman Gonzalez, Jermell Charlo, Juan Francisco Estrada, and Yordenis Ugas. The people who did not have points but were on lists: Tyson Fury, Teofimo Lopez, Triple G, Jermall Charlo, Jaime Munguia, and Anthony Joshua. So, Rich, I know you've been sitting there just chomping at the bit. Which one of those names do you want to talk about that we just mentioned?
Look, I'll just go with the guy I had ranked highest that didn't get anything. I had Artur Beterbiev ranked number 9. Nobody's beating this dude. 100% KO ratio. What is it? 16-0 with 16 knockouts. 17? I think it was 17-0.
17-0.
17-0, 17 knockouts.
Who's counting?
You may as well keep going with him. Like, he'll be like 24-0, 24 knockouts before I think maybe his 25th fight. he'll probably. He's another guy. He's gonna retire undefeated. I'd like to see like where he ranks among the greats when his career is over. So Artur Beterbiev, he'll never get the props he deserves. He's in I don't think it's a weak weight class, but he beats Joe Smith Jr. He beats everybody in this division. I don't see him moving up, but if he did, he probably beats a lot of guys at cruiserweight.
Right on. Raider Live background change again, man. What is this? This is like the Emmys or something. Which name out of those do you want to talk about?
I'm gonna do two quick short ones. The first one I'm going to try to get back in the host good graces here. I'm going to talk about Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. Chocolatito is amazing fighter. When he lost, I thought he was done.
Which lost? A couple. You're talking about Sarungvasai?
Yeah, against Sarungvasai. I thought his career was done. We all kind of thought his career was done. You're the one that left hope. You said no, Chocolatito is still going to come back. And when he fought Estrada this last time, that proved to me that, yeah, he's back. He won that fight. He got robbed. He's going to win the fight when they fight in March. Chocolatito is an amazing fighter. And not only that, but an amazingly fun fighter to watch. I wish I could put him up further on my list. It just didn't work out that way, but I had to have him on there, and I had to have him in front of Estrada because he beat Estrada, in my opinion. The one that I want to talk about also, though, is one that wasn't on my list, which is kind of weird, is Triple G. Triple G is my favorite fighter in the world, and I didn't have him on my list, and that hurt. It really, really, really hurt. But I'm starting to go your guys' route, believing that I think it might be done. It might be over for him, and I don't want him to be like Ali and just have bad losses on the way out. I want to remember the Triple G that I knew, the Triple G that planted my re-love for boxing was Triple G, and I don't know if he has that anymore. I wish that he did. I felt like his last fight showed some hope, but we haven't seen a fight. He's just getting older and older and older, and he's not getting any fights, and it bothers me. And I just kind of left him off the list, I think, because subconsciously I just wanted to walk into the sunset, and I hate it. It really hurt to say. So that's the two I wanted to talk about.
He had a fight lined up. I blame COVID familiar, not you, Rich. I just blame COVID
in Japan, right?
Because they locked down the entire country once a variant came out, and it canceled the fight because he wasn't inside of it. So that just sucks. But I definitely understand where you're coming from.
I don't think he beats Jaime Munguia, and I don't think he beats Canelo, and those are the two big fights that he should be having, and I don't see it happening.
Rich is freaking out up there.
Yeah, I kind of am. Yeah.
Go ahead, Rich.
Fine. Real quick, bro.
We like I mentioned earlier about I have a guy on this list who lost his last fight, and it didn't matter. His name was Chocolatito. And you just talked about Chocolatito, and you just brought up the same point, yet you ripped on me for having somebody, whatever. I don't know what story that was. It was so long ago. But Triple G is still dominant at 160. Nobody's better than him at 160. And you're putting him up against Canelo. Canelo's a tough dog, but anyone else at 168? Who beats Triple G? Maybe I think he beats Caleb Plant. Maybe Benavidez beats him, but I think Triple G can go up to 168 and beat a lot of guys. Even the Japanese guy he's about to fight. Murata. He's going to beat this dude. Yeah, Ryota Murata. He's going to beat Murata. So I have him ranked. Where do I have him? 12th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have him riding off to the sunset. I have not stopped believing in Triple G. It was you guys who didn't like the trainer change and all this other garbage. He's fitting in with the trainer right now. He's a defensive fighter right now. I think he's doing fine. So
you think he beat Derevyanchenko?
Don't you dare bring that up.
It doesn't matter. All right, look.
Do you think he beat Derevyanchenko? I don't think he did.
Yeah,
that was the problem.
Of course he did. He beat him and he beat Jacobs. Okay. And Crawford whooped up Terrence Crawford whooped up Sean Porter. I don't care what anyone thinks about that. Terrence Crawford whooped Sean Porter. He was never ahead of the cards. He was never going to win.
All right, I got to reel this back in. All right, let's get this back in. So the only person I really want to touch on in this whole thing for me is sort of an outlier is Ugas. I threw him on at number 13 on my list. after to me, it was a very impressive win against Manny Pacquiao before he retired. I did not expect him to do that. He had a perfect game plan. He executed it. He's been getting shorted over and over and over and over in his career, and he finally came through, and he just keeps persevering. He's definitely an older fighter as far as that goes, 35 years old, I think, or somewhere around there. But he finally got his just desserts, right? So I think myself and Raider Live actually had him ranked. Raider Live had him right at 10. So that's what I want to talk about. It was a stretch for me, but I think at this point, because we're doing it on January 2022, he's on my list for that one. So right on, boys. I appreciate all the banter. It was good. We're gonna keep on going. We're gonna keep on going on.
I didn't get muted, so that was good.
Not yet, but we're going through 3, 2, 1. So I know it's a long show, folks, but just bear with us. It's definitely going to be worth it. But without further ado, number 3 on our general consensus pound for pound list is the monster, Naoya Inoue. I probably messed up his first name. Not a big deal. Rich, you had him at number 4. I also had him at number 4. Rated Live. Guess what? Number 2. So, Rated Live, why do you have the monster at number 2?
Godzilla. Nobody beats Godzilla. I had him at number 2 last year. I didn't change it. He's unbeatable. There's no one that's going to beat him down there. And he can go up 2 weight classes, and there's still not going to be anyone that's going to beat him. He's the essence of a pound for pound. It doesn't matter. Within 15 pounds of him, he's going to destroy anything that goes in front of his face. He's unbelievable. He's unbeatable. And when you talk pound for pound, that he's better at different weight classes, I think he dominates 2 weight classes in front of him even. I think he would dominate. If he moved up, he dominates. If he stays where he's at, he dominates. He dominates everywhere he goes. He's not going to be beat. And I think if he was an American, he'd be the biggest name in boxing. That's what I think it is.
Wow. That's interesting. Filthy Rich, the monster at number 4 on your list. Tell us why.
I hate you, Raider. I think Raider took all my good points. He took everything. He nailed it. He got it this time. Inoue moves up 2 weight classes. What's he at, 122 or 118? Something like that.
I think it's 122.
He moves up to maybe 126. 130 right now is going to be tough because 130 is still a deep division, but he still has a lot of guys, a lot of opportunity at 122, 118, 126, and he destroys everyone. He's going to have a long career at this weight. Once you get guys, I think Shakur is at 130 right now. Once Shakur gets out of 130, I think that Shakur is just a naturally bigger dude. He would beat Inoue, but once Shakur gets out of 130, then I think there's opportunity at 130 for the monster, and Raider nailed it. So I
think he's at 118 or 118.
He's at 118. Right?
I think it's 118. He's at bantamweight, so I think it's 118. The lower weights really messed me up. But either way, I don't really like doing this stuff. I guess I do have to agree with both of you. Write
that down.
But yeah, I think Inoue his name suits him. His nickname does suit him. It's difficult for me to keep him out of a top 3 contention on my list personally, but it is super close for me on these top 4 guys that I have. And Inoue, and it's not even the fact he doesn't have knockout to the face power. It's his knockouts to the body, and the fact that you are so precise, powerful, and technical with those shots, man. His last fight against Demarassis or something, I'm terrible with names, dude. Whatever his last fight was, dropped him once, dropped him twice. That's right. He just had a recent fight. Well, the one before that,
right?
Dropped him once, dropped him twice, and it was literally in the same spot. You keep dropping people by body. This is like Triple G-esque, right? That's what reminds me of him, is the power of Triple G, that you could hit someone that hard in the ribs twice, break them, and you're done. That's it. You don't even need to do anything else. So I don't know. Inoue is definitely a beast, has room to move up, and he's awesome. But why he's at number 3, I definitely agree with that. Raider, Jesus
My
Christ.
quick question to you guys here: do you guys agree that if he was American, Mexican, or English, that he would be the biggest fighter in the world? The fact that he's Japanese actually holds him back.
No, I disagree with that.
There's not a lot of Japanese fighters. It's not a big.
There's plenty of Japanese fighters, but we ain't got time for that
when
on
it
this
comes
show.
the worldwide recognition, though, it's I feel like if he was Mexican or American or English, he would be the biggest name in boxing.
All right, good talk. We'll see you out there. And on that note, we're going to move on to number 2 on our general consensus list. And number 2, if you haven't guessed it already, folks, there's probably only 2 guys. If you've watched the show, probably have a pretty good idea of who this is or who they are. But at number 2 with 26 points is Vasily Lomachenko. Rich, you had him at numero 1. I had him at number 2, right alive, number 4. So, Rich, take it away, man. Why is he the best boxer in boxing today?
This is the mistake I made because I think last time we ranked in July, I had him ranked 2 or 3, something like that. I didn't want to make the same mistake with like someone like Errol Spence, but Lomachenko is the best. Nobody beats Lomachenko. You put Lomachenko's skill set versus Canelo's skill set, and they meet at the same weight. Lomachenko runs circles around Canelo. Nobody wins a round against Lomachenko unless he has a bad shoulder. But from what I see with Canelo, he loses several rounds because he just doesn't really fight much. He just kind of goes for the knockout. Great. But nobody, like if I'm training somebody, I give them a Lomachenko tape and say, watch this. That's who you need to be. Lomachenko's the best fighter in the world. It's not close. It's not Canelo.
Well, obviously our list may speak otherwise, but Raider, real quick, why do you have Lomachenko at number 4 on your list?
Well, number 4 is not disrespect. Let me just point that first out. Right?
Very disrespectful.
It's not, because I very much a huge Lomachenko fan. I am a bigger Lomachenko fan than I am a Canelo fan. And I had Canelo higher than Lomachenko. Spoiler alert. But Lomachenko, he had that loss against Teofimo Lopez. That's what angers me about that is if you were not healthy for that fight and you knew it, you need to be smart enough to not take the fight or delay the fight. You need to just man up and hurt your pride and go, I'm hurt. I need another few months. Okay, Lomachenko skill set is unmatched, except maybe by Canelo anyway. It's debatable, but his angles are amazing. Anyone that gets in the ring with him is amazing. He's never been an underdog in his entire career, and he never will be an underdog in his entire career, no matter against who he fights. It's just his comeback isn't full formed yet to make me have him higher on my list. I think Usyk's victory right now over Joshua is more impressive. It keeps him higher. I think Inoue is just a beast, pound for pound wise, where you can't keep him. And Canelo is Canelo. I mean, being 4 is not a bad thing in my list. He's amazing. He's amazing. It's not a disrespect.
Well, number 4 isn't a good thing either, because there's a list of 10, and number 4 means you're only at 50%, almost failing. But either way, doesn't matter. Number 2, Lomachenko, right? I see your point, Raider Live. I see your point, Filthy Rich. He definitely is skilled beyond belief, right? And he took a nasty little hit against Teofimo Lopez. Pride, however you want to call it, right? We don't know behind the scenes. But Lomachenko, you can't deny his skill and ability. Now, probably won't touch too much on this. I'll probably touch on it in a little bit, but it is fairly unmatched. There are a few that I think could hang in this thing, but it would still be great fights that I would probably pay a lot more money than I should to see. But I've been a Lomachenko supporter for so many years, and I can't I dropped him down when he lost to Teofimo way too far. And for me, he has just proven himself in his previous fights back come up against Nakatani and Comey. You can't deny it. He's back. Everyone makes poor decisions, poor choices. He made one against Lopez. It's a shame that they're not going to be able to get a rematch on that at that weight division, because that's probably the only knock on Lomachenko is that he doesn't move down or up in weight. So it's difficult as far as a pound for pound thing, but skills you definitely can't deny. So, but
best trainer too.
Well, second best. Anyway, all right. So, all right, folks. Now we're finally up to our number one consensus pick on our pound for pound rankings, active for 2022. And if you haven't guessed it yet, you probably can. Maybe you can throw a bet down, throw it in there. Ugh, gross. If you want to shotgun something, go right ahead. But number one with 29 points is, you guessed it, Canelo Alvarez.
Oh, that was
Raider. No, Raider, you had him at number one. James had him at number one, and Rich, you had him at number two. Pretty self-explanatory to why we have him ranked as high as we do. I'm going to switch it up real quick just because probably beat a dead horse. Why he's number one. So Rich, why'd you have him at number two?
Look, he just has a better resume than Terence Crawford as of late, but I would have liked to put Crawford ahead of him. Crawford might be really ahead of him because I think Crawford kicks his butt. Canelo, yeah, again, he has a better resume. What am I supposed to say? He's moving up to cruiserweight here in a little bit, and he's probably going to beat the guy, whoever he is. It's a whoever fight, but Canelo's pretty good. Leave it at that.
All right, real quick. Honestly, I also got him at. I got him at number one. Raiders talked a lot. You know what I mean? He talks all the time. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, he definitely.
That's not what I was talking about. I was laughing because he said he's pretty good.
Yeah, he is pretty good. Either way, look,
pretty good.
Canelo's number one in my book. Obviously, he was my fighter of the year. He's been number one. You can't deny skills, even if you don't like the guy. He doesn't speak very good English except for some swear words and some other stuff like that. I think that he puts up quite a bit of a fight. I know you guys were just talking. One of you two was just talking about like you think Lomachenko would just destroy him in an even match as far as that goes. And I don't think, as much as I love Lomachenko, I don't think that would be the case. I think Canelo is just as good of a tactician. Maybe slightly less of a tactician than Loma, but he destroys people by timing and precision. It's not by just straight force or brutal knockouts. It is he. You've seen it against BJS. He learned so much from when he lost to Floyd that he changed, adapted, and he hasn't been beat since. And he's technically one of the only fighters that have gone up like 3 or 4 weight classes, like bam, 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 bam. He's a real life pound for pound, man. You don't get much more real life than that. So, Raider, pass it to you. Why do you have Canelo Alvarez as number one?
God, you're killing me.
Killing you?
You just talk. What do you mean I'm killing you?
You guys are killing me.
Go. I'll give you final word. Raider, you're next.
I got the floor, Rich. Canelo.
Hurry up.
Canelo. What can you say, man? The guy fights at so many different weight classes. He's gone from he started at 139, 140 in that range, all the way up to now he's 168, 175. That's where he started. Yeah, he started down
139?
130.
Not even a weight class.
140. Sorry, 140. He started at 140. He weighed at 139 for his first fight. That's what I'm talking about. Do I have the floor or not? Anyway.
For a hot minute, man, I still about to mute you, so you better let's keep it rolling.
Anyway, the names that he fought.
Anyway.
The names he has fought. Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, Triple G, Colin Smith, Kovalev, Cotto, Lara, which he lost to, but anyway, Amir Khan, all these guys. He takes the big fights. He does the big fights. He wins the big fights. He does every fight, and he keeps moving up. He's like, I'm just going to keep going up. I'm going to dominate this one, move up to the next one. Dominate this one, move up to the next one. I think it ends when he hits Beterbiev. But you can't disrespect. Nobody's done what he's done since Manny Pacquiao. He's only next to Manny Pacquiao when it comes to dominating multiple divisions. And that's great company to be in. Canelo, as much as I hate him because he has terrible beer and tainted meat, and he beat officially my favorite boxer of all time, which I don't think he beat him, but you got to respect the skills. You got to respect it. He's the best. And until, as Ric Flair says, to be the man, you got to beat the man, and nobody has beaten the man. And so that's why he's the man.
He's got one loss, so someone has beat him.
Well, to Mayweather, but he was like 10 years old and he was a ginger. So, I mean, yeah.
He's still a ginger. What do you mean? He didn't change race.
There is no Mexican gingers. I don't know I don't think he's Mexican. I'm going to point that out right now. I don't think he's Mexican.
Oh, my God. Anyway, Rich, like I said, I was going to give you a final point, so take it away.
Oh, well, we talk about moving up naturally. Like one thing with Lomachenko, he's fighting bigger dudes. He's not moving up naturally. And there's nothing natural about tainted meat. You can't keep bringing up tainted meat and talking about moving up. He's not moving up naturally. And I guess he's fighting some guys, whatever. But his skill set is not as good as Lomachenko would box circles around this dude. We thought Guillermo Rigondeaux had a chance against Lomachenko. Lomachenko embarrassed this dude. Yeah, Lomachenko embarrasses everyone. He even thought that he could beat Teofimo Lopez with one arm tied around his back. Now, he lost that bet, but he probably still, in a rematch, if you put Lomachenko's arm behind his back, he probably whoops Teofimo Lopez at this point. I'll drink to that, but I'm out of beer right now. So Lomachenko it's not close. Like, people think it's close. Now, Canelo has the better resume. Lomachenko is the Bible of boxing. He is the definition of what you want to be. I have compared him to Roy Jones, and I've been kind of ashamed of it. Not anymore, man. Lomachenko, whoopsie, he embarrassed Comey. He told his corner to throw in the towel. You can't do that. But he did it anyways, and he's going to keep doing that to guys until he gets a TO rematch and embarrasses dude with one. When Cambosis, he's going to get the Cambosis fight. I'm telling you right now, and he's going to embarrass Cambosis. And then we'll see next, July? You guys will both have him number one. Am I right?
I don't know. We'll find out. But on that note, I think we're going to end this segment of the show. It is not. You should be sorry, Rich.
Sorry, guys.
Hosting ain't easy, is it, James?
Of course it is. It's easy as pie, man. Either way, this is it, folks. We're going to run through our 1 through 10 real quick before we move on and end the show. Again, at number 10 was Josh Taylor. Number 9 was George Cambosis Jr. Number 8, Shakur Stevenson. Number 7, Errol Spence Jr. Number 6, Gervonta Tank Davis. Number 5, Alexander Usyk. Number 4, Terence Crawford. Should be higher. Number 3, Naoya Inoue. Number 2, Vasily Lomachenko. And number 1 is Canelo Alvarez. So, boys, I appreciate it. Fun time hosting. Real good segment. Went on forever. If you stayed with us, I really appreciate it. And I think at this point, we need to move on with the show.
All right, reclaiming my seat from Judge Jimmy James. I'm not going to bust out the mutes like that guy did. But, hey, it was fun being an expert up there and remaining undefeated. So love you guys. Glad that I'm healthy here again and that I survived it. And it's fun to have our first show of 2022, season 3. Amazing. Season 3. Who would have thought we got this far when we first started this out? How, Filthy Rich?
I did.
Yeah, exactly. Filthy Rich, why don't you bring us on home?
Happy New Year, everyone. Don't call me Matt from Lindstrom. Or you can call me whatever. Whatever. It's your call. You'll call me to say, why'd you tell me not to call you? Whatever. I'll answer. Okay.
Matt from Lindstrom, call him Collect. That'd be hilarious.
Don't you dare.
Call him Collect. And that would be great. And by the way, I said this off the air, but I'll say it to the public. I bet the Lakers and LeBron just for Filthy Rich, and he didn't let me down.
I'll drink to you, Raider Live.
That's right. Thanks, buddy. James, if they listen to us, where can they watch us and all my awesome backgrounds this week? And if they watch us, where can they listen to us on the road and say if they're fishing?
Very specific, but if you're listening to us and you want to watch us, you can go to YouTube /Brews and Boxing. BREWSAND Boxing. Or if you are watching us and want to listen to us, you can go to check out any major podcast site and type it in and check us out.
All right. First show of 2022 in the books. Thank you all for joining us. Please share it with a friend. Just let's get these numbers up here. We got to get our numbers up here. We've been here for 2 years. It's time to skyrocket up the charts. Skyrocket up. Yes, I love. We all love you. We should come back. You need to show us love. For Filthy Rich and Judge Jimmy James, I'm Ray to Live. Stay healthy, everybody. Wear a mask if you need to. And we will see you guys next week.